San Francisco. Today is one of those days where you just have to shake your head, pour your coffee, and accept that the Brandon Aiyuk saga has officially entered its most unhinged chapter yet. Because on Father's Day, on a Sunday that most of us spend barbecuing, calling our dads, and watching the World Cup, Brandon Aiyuk, who is still officially a member of the San Francisco 49ers under a 4-year, $120 million contract, got on his Instagram story and screamed "Go Commanders" 3 times in a row. And then George Kittle, the most team-first, locker-room protecting, ride-or-die teammate in professional football, a man who has never thrown a single one of his own teammates under the bus in 7 seasons in red and gold, appeared on Pardon My Take and took a very deliberate, very visible, very calculated shot directly at Aiyuk. That is how far this thing has gone. We are going to break down every bit of it today on 49ers Focus, and then we are going to close out with the official training camp dates, because football is almost back, and whether Aiyuk is here or not, the rest of this roster is ready to work. Let us go back to the beginning of this weekend first, because the Father's Day Instagram moment did not come out of nowhere. It was the latest entry in what has been an absolutely wild June for the Aiyuk social media accounts. 2 weeks ago, Aiyuk posted multiple videos going scorched earth on the 49ers organization. The viral one involved him ranting from what appeared to be a moving vehicle, calling the franchise stupid and dumb, claiming they voided his guarantees for 2027 even though the year is actually 2026. And declaring he would be on a new team in what he consistently referred to as the wrong year. He called the 49ers scared. He warned about the belt. He compared the franchise to a small child possessing a toy they no longer play with but refuse to hand over when another child wants it. He told the 49ers to stop being a cat. This was a man who had received $48, $15 million from San Francisco for 7 games and 25 catches across 2 injury and absence-plagued seasons, posting videos from behind the wheel of a car going well over the speed limit past Levi's Stadium, a moment that actually resulted in the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office issuing a misdemeanor arrest warrant for exhibition of speeding. Then, about 9 days after the explosion, Aiyuk cleaned up his pages, deleted the rant videos, went quiet. Multiple people in and around the league exhaled. Someone had apparently gotten to him. Some advisor, some friend, some agent-adjacent figure had finally sat him down and said the obvious. Every post you make trashing the employer who gave you $48 million is another general manager somewhere crossing your name off his board. So he went dark. And then he came back, strategically, intentionally, with the scale video. 208 pounds, panning up to the mirror, looking lean, looking healthy. A week after deleting everything, he posted a caption that read, "Coming to an end zone near you." Then there was the soccer clip, dribbling a ball through his legs and kicking it into the camera to hype up the USA versus Australia World Cup match. The message was deliberate and unmistakable. I am healthy, I am athletic. My knee works, and I want you to notice. And then came Father's Day. June 22nd, 2026, Brandon Aiyuk, still technically under contract with San Francisco, posts an Instagram story video of himself wishing everyone a happy Father's Day. Warm enough start. And then, in the last 10 seconds of a message that he chose to record and post publicly, he looked directly at the camera and said, "I just wanted to say, go Commanders. Go Commanders, man, go Commanders. Raise hail, take command." And then the Mark Rypien photo. He posted a picture on his Instagram story of the Washington quarterback hoisting the Lombardi Trophy after Super Bowl XXV in January 1992, the last time Washington won a championship. Let that one sit for a moment. A player under contract with the San Francisco 49ers used Father's Day to post a photo celebrating Washington's last Super Bowl title from 34 years ago. The trolling is fully operational. This follows weeks of increasingly obvious Washington signaling. Aiyuk spent the previous week posting Instagram content from Washington, D.C. in what appeared to be a matching velour outfit in 90-degree humidity. When Jaden Daniels was asked whether Aiyuk had attended a throwing session with him, Daniels declined to answer. Aiyuk and Daniels played together at Arizona State in 2019, and the two have maintained a close friendship throughout Aiyuk's time in San Francisco. He was at Daniels' wedding, while Brock Purdy was not. Pro Football Focus actually listed Aiyuk on their site in Commanders colors during free agency season, with Washington's team logo attached to his player profile, before presumably someone pointed out he was still technically a 49er. The connection between Aiyuk and Washington runs as deep as any player-to-team connection in recent memory, and at this point the only people who seem genuinely surprised by his Instagram activity are the ones who have not been paying attention for the last 18 months. But here is the specific dynamic that makes the Go Commanders post different from everything that came before it. When Aiyuk was ranting and raving and calling the 49ers dumb and stupid, those were things that could be dismissed as an emotional player venting in a dysfunctional way. Damaging, yes. Career-limiting, certainly. But emotional. This Father's Day post is something else entirely. This is a player actively cheering for another NFL franchise while under contract with his current employer. This is a player whose social media activity is now functioning as a tampering inquiry waiting to happen. Multiple analysts have raised the word tampering in the last 24 hours, and for good reason. At what point does a player publicly and repeatedly promoting a specific franchise cross a line that the league office should examine? The 49ers have every right to be furious. More importantly, they now have more fuel than ever to say, "We are not releasing this man." Washington, if you want him, give us a pick. Give us something. Because your future quarterback's best friend, who is currently wearing our contract, is out here doing your marketing for free. And that is not something we are just going to let walk out the door without compensation. The Niners' leverage here is as real as it gets. They owe Aiyuk nothing at this point. The 49ers voided approximately $26 to $27 million in 2026 guarantees after Aiyuk skipped mandatory rehabilitation sessions during the 2025 season. If Aiyuk shows up when training camp opens on July 25th, the team's only option becomes releasing him, because if he practices with the club and then suffers a season-ending injury, San Francisco would suddenly be on the hook for more than $26 million that they have been very deliberately positioning themselves to avoid. As Mike Florio put it plainly on Pro Football Talk this week, the 49ers have been squatting on Aiyuk's rights with the goal of engineering a trade. Washington knows this. Washington is waiting this out. Washington believes, not unreasonably, that if they just stay patient long enough, the 49ers will blink and release Aiyuk for free, and then the Commanders can sign him at a fraction of his previous contract value and get their franchise quarterback, his best friend, without surrendering a single draft pick. Every Go Commanders post that Aiyuk makes only strengthens Washington's conviction that patience is the right strategy. The problem with that strategy for Washington, and it is a real problem, is that every day Aiyuk is not on their roster is a day the Commanders' receiver room runs OTA and minicamp practices dropping passes without him. Their receiver core missed out on Romeo Doubs, who signed with the Patriots. They missed out on Alec Pierce, who re-signed with the Colts. Their best available option outside Terry McLaurin, who had a down season coming off a major contract extension, is a collection of unproven depth pieces. Their beat writers were reporting drop after drop after drop in 11-on-11 drills this spring. The urgency is real. The need is real. The fit with Jaden Daniels is real. At some point, Washington's calculation changes, not because they suddenly want to pay what San Francisco is asking, but because the math on being without a legitimate second receiver for the entire offseason becomes worse than the math on surrendering a late-round pick to get this resolved. And then George Kittle went on Pardon My Take, and everything changed in how this story is being covered around the league. George Kittle is the last player you would ever expect to take a public shot at a teammate. His brand, his personality, his entire public-facing identity is built around being the guy who has everyone's back, who keeps things in the locker room, who lifts people up rather than kicking them when they are down. He spent 5 seasons as Aiyuk's teammate. When Aiyuk was in the weight room rehabbing last year, Kittle was going out of his way to walk over there and spend time with him. When Kittle himself tore his Achilles in January against the Eagles, he said Aiyuk reached out and told him he was thinking of him. There was genuine warmth between these two players. So when Kittle appeared on Pardon My Take, the Barstool Sports podcast co-hosted by PF commenter, who is a well-known lifelong Washington Commanders fan, and commenter asked him about Aiyuk, everyone expected the usual team captain answer. Something warm, something measured, something about wishing Brandon the best. Instead, Kittle said the last time he saw Aiyuk was around week 6, 7, or 8 of last season. He said he used to make a habit of going out early in the morning before meetings specifically to watch Aiyuk train, because Aiyuk was always out there early. He said he watched him run over 22 miles per hour and stop on a dime, that it was genuinely impressive to watch, that he clearly still had it. And then came the line. He still got it, but that was 8 months ago, so I don't really know. You guys have fun with that. And then the kicker. Everything that comes with it. Everything that comes with it. 4 words. From a man who never throws his teammates under the bus in 5 years of being a 49er. 4 words that translated clearly and directly as Washington. You are getting a player with enormous talent and enormous complications attached to that talent, and good luck figuring out how that goes for you. When commenter said Aiyuk would finally be happy once he got to Washington, Kittle continued. He said, and this is a direct quote, "You're right. I wouldn't be happy either after a team paid me $130 million. There it is. The most team-first player in San Francisco took a calculated, public, unambiguous shot at a teammate, broke from his own established character to do it, and the fact that he did it willingly tells you everything you need to know about the temperature inside the 49ers organization right now. The 49ers have paid Aiyuk $48.15 million for 7 games and 25 catches across 2 seasons. They watched him cut off communication with the team. They voided his guarantees. They watched him drive past Levi's Stadium at well over the speed limit, filming it on Instagram, earning himself a misdemeanor arrest warrant. They watched him call the organization stupid and dumb in viral videos. They watched him cheer for a division rival on social media while still technically under contract. And now the most beloved player in the locker room has finally had enough and said his piece publicly. The era of everyone keeping it polite and professional about Brandon Aiyuk inside the 49ers building is over. The clock on this situation is ticking louder than ever. On a much happier note, because football is coming and the Aiyuk drama does not get to be the only storyline heading into camp, the San Francisco 49ers have officially announced their training camp schedule for 2026, and the faithful need to mark these dates on their calendar right now. Rookies report to the SAP Performance Center on July 18th, veterans and the full roster report 1 week later on July 25th. The rookies get their week of acclimation, learning the playbook, hitting the practice field in shells, doing weight training, beginning to build the mental foundations of an NFL offseason before the big names walk through the door. And then on July 25th, Brock Purdy arrives. Fred Warner arrives. Trent Williams arrives. Christian McCaffrey arrives. Nick Bosa, coming off that ankle and by all accounts tracking ahead of schedule, walks back through those doors at Centennial Boulevard, ready to remind the entire NFC that last year was a detour, not a destination. The preseason slate is equally compelling. The 49ers have joint practices scheduled with the Tennessee Titans on August 11th, followed by preseason Game 1 against Tennessee at home on August 13th at 6 o'clock Pacific. That is also the first game with former 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, who is now the head coach of the Titans after his second stint with a New York team ended earlier this offseason. That joint practice and preseason matchup is going to have extra juice for everyone who spent 5 years watching Saleh build the defensive identity of this franchise. Then, on August 18th, the 49ers hold joint practices against the Los Angeles Chargers, with the preseason game against LA coming August 20th at SoFi Stadium, the site of Super Bowl Elksy, at 7 o'clock Pacific. And the preseason closes out August 27th at the Las Vegas Raiders at 5 o'clock Pacific, which will be a very strange atmosphere given everything that has been swirling around Max Crosby and the Raiders in recent weeks. The season proper begins September 11th in Melbourne, Australia, when the 49ers open the 2026 NFL season against the Los Angeles Rams on the other side of the world in what is already being called one of the most anticipated regular season openers in recent memory. That game has everything. Defending NFC West rivals Myles Garrett making his Rams debut against Nick Bosa, Kyle Shanahan against a Rams defense built to stop exactly what he does, and a global stage that puts this game in front of an audience the NFL has never reached before. Training camp is 23 days away. The roster is deep, talented, motivated, and hungry. The veterans are healthy and ready. The rookies are already turning heads. And somewhere, presumably, Brandon Aiyuk is figuring out his next Instagram story. But that story ends with or without him. This team is moving forward, and July 25th cannot get here fast enough. If this video fired you up for training camp, hit that like button right now and let us see how much noise the faithful can make in the comments section. Subscribe to 49ers Focus and turn on the notification bell. When the Aiyuk trade or release finally gets announced, you want to be the first to know. Drop your take in the comments right now. Is George Kittle right to push back publicly, or should he have stayed quiet? And does Washington make the trade before camp, or do they just wait for the release? Tell a friend to tell a friend. Go Niners. Let us get this thing started.